Thanks. Hi, everyone. Good to see some of you I can see. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about immersive technology in culture and heritage sector. So obviously Tom mentioned a few things there which will be interesting. Tom and I have connected before, so I think we'll have to have a catch-up chat soon regarding our current projects. So Co-op, we've been going since 2016. I'm one of the co-founders, backgrounds in games development for 21 years. Same with my co-founder Brian, so we're both kind of programmers, low-level engineers, worked on a wide range of different stuff. I ran a studio called Four Door Lemon for 10 years before Co-op. Brian was tech director there, and we built a lot of our own tools and technologies and kind of brought that across to Cooperative as well. We've built on top of Unreal Engine with Cooperative Innovations, so we build our own plugins and tools, which we then use to build a wide range of different experiences and games. So what we tend to do is build multi-user experiences, hence the name of the company. And our belief behind that is that any experience is better enjoyed by more people together. So people are a multiplier for any kind of experience that you'll have, and everything we do is kind of based around that. And VR has been very much the focus for things we've developed to date, but we also develop mobile, console and PC experiences as well, which cross-play with VR and AR. This is Spaceteam VR, just to show a bit of background of other things we've been developing. So Spaceteam VR is based on quite a popular multi-user experience from mobile, very popular mobile game. So we converted this to be a VR experience, released in May 2020. So it's based on our full body avatars. You can see there, you shout technobabble instructions at each other while you're trying to shoot aliens, fix controls and put fires out, and wipe slime off your consoles. You can see there from the sliming aliens that pop up, but very much based around multi-user social fun. So the technology behind that, for instance, is Ichabod. So this is our full body IK solution. This tool basically allows us to do the full body avatars you see there in Spaceteam and in our future projects as well. Volumetrics, so this is our heat mapping tool. So this is a 3D heat map system which captures the locations of where the user's looking. So if we have gaze tracking in the headset, for instance, we can look at where the user looks at during an experience, or where they interact, where they pick things up, where they walk. This is really useful for all of our projects in terms of understanding whether the user's experience is the same as our sort of design intent behind what we're designing. Also very useful in AR uses as well. So sort of coupled with all of that technology, we've been working on a few different projects as well, including a supercar company we've been working with on their multi-user design tools, kind of linking back to what Sol was saying in terms of the opportunities that there are right now in terms of industry and the uses of immersive technology, and kind of all of that tech and experience we have from the games background. All of those real-time technologies and tools and experience applies very much to what we're doing there. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about this virtual pub experience, which this wasn't released to the public. So it's kind of a slightly curated set of videos to try and not reveal too much about it. But this was an experience which was based on photogrammetry taken sort of 2016. We developed the first version of this experience in 2017. And the initial version was a single user walk around. So you can see very nice high quality visuals. So this was running on minimum spec on the Oculus Rift when first released. We also had it running on Vive as well, and you can basically walk around, experience this pub environment, play on the fruit machine, play darts, have a dance to the jukebox, all that kind of stuff, and even the piano to play as well. The next phase of that was then to bring in a lot of the multi-user tech we wanted to bring across from our other projects. So storytelling, kind of like Sol was saying with Rewind, has always been a passionate sort of central core of what we do. And so the storytelling aspects you'll see in a second, kind of were guided from that kind of aim to do that kind of thing. So here you see not our full body avatars, just kind of the torso and the heads, but we have our voice over IP solution, we have our lip sync, we have facial expressions on the characters, you've got interaction with physics objects there as well, and all of that kind of things you expect from a multi-user experience. And then this comes into the storytelling angle. So here we have the ability to multi-track record these characters being acted out. So you have two characters both acted out by the same person, but it could be four people who are acting as four different avatars and then another four on top of them, just overlaying the different performances. And then you can see that there's a virtual camera capturing that out, which captures a HD output live within the virtual reality environment. So sort of a virtual-based virtual production rather than being based on the LED screens and everything that Sol was talking about, and Epic are doing a lot of work with, obviously. But it makes use of some of the similar technologies in terms of that real-time rendering. The editor system's able to build things quickly and iterate. So that kind of ties into the culture, the heritage, and the art side of things. So Tom obviously mentioned a wide range of different opportunities and benefits to immersive tech and the real-time technologies that can be harnessed for these different areas. Obviously, there's a lot of challenges right now for this sector. They already had pressures in terms of broadening their audience, as Tom mentioned, the 18 to 35 kind of range. Decolonization obviously has become more of a topic than it was before, which is obviously a very good thing to be looking at how they're looking at their exhibitions and their collections with that in mind. And obviously they're competing for time and funding and revenue like any sector is. And even if people can visit a location like London, for instance, there's obviously the main museums that people would visit, or main art galleries or cultural sites, but there's obviously a choice there, and there's a lot of great knowledge and stories that have been locked away and not accessible. And obviously the challenge to stay relevant in terms of updating those stories and everything else as well. And then on top of all that, they've had COVID impact them very severely. And again, today, obviously, lockdown starting again for that sector, and you know, the level of support for them in terms of government support and everything else, plus all the challenges in terms of if you're a small museum without much space to move around, making it social distance compatible is very difficult to do. So actually the COVID-19 challenge was a good one for us in some ways, because we were able to secure some funding for producing this project, which I'm about to talk about. So we had been chatting to museums, heritage sites for quite a long time. We'd done some prototypes with a few people, but actually getting it to a point where we could build more of a platform and bring some of that the knowledge and the experience we've built elsewhere is what the Innovate project has allowed us to do. And the reason we felt that there was an opportunity before COVID is that not all the places are accessible. So obviously not everyone in the world has a passport, is going to be able to travel to England, or is ever going to travel to the north of England, for instance, to visit a museum here. And the amount of audience reach that some places have is obviously going to be limited, despite the fact that people can be interested in your story and stories from the world over. And obviously digital has changed, as kind of Sol and others have said. In terms of 2020 and people's relationship, they're more used to logging into an experience or having an app to experience different things as well. And again, as Tom had said, we've kind of seen the boost in traffic for a lot of heritage sites as well, in terms of people wanting to experience and learn remotely, whether that's school children or adults just looking for a different experience because they've exhausted Netflix for other content to be enjoying. And there was existing work in this area. So Anne Frank House VR is a brilliant experience built a few years ago by Forcefield. They've had several others there as well, the whole the world with Natural History Museum, the Mona Lisa experience as well on Viveport, and of course Google, who have their Google Arts and Culture app and website. And even Netflix recently, very recently actually, I think this was the Brooklyn Museum project linked to The Crown and the Queen's Gambit, looking at the fashion and design behind those two shows. And this is kind of a semi-3D, semi-2D experience in the browser. So these are really good experiences. They're obviously using some of the technologies talked about in terms of photogrammetry and capture and some of the storytelling, but we still felt there was some angles that weren't being explored fully, and obviously the multi-user aspect of that and the fact we can allow other users to tell their stories as well was kind of key to it. So we've launched, or we are launching very soon, Curators, which is multi-user social platform for tours. And so this is fully 3D environments where possible, dynamic environments. We have monetization approaches for the museums to actually benefit from whether that's donations or paid tours that can exist within the platform. So this is, well, it's partly a mock-up. This is actually from the screenshots as well from the app. But the user would be presented whether logging on iPad or PC or web or on a VR headset. They'd be presented with a set of tours that they can experience. So this could be heritage sites, it could be around a castle, it could be inside a virtual museum, it could be a museum that doesn't exist in the real world, or it could be a gallery of artwork that someone's put together. And the idea is that we're going to open up a set of tools and the platform so that people can upload and launch their own experiences on our platform, charge for them if they wish, or make it freely available. They can book in a time slot for a live guided tour, which may be a curator of the museum. It could be an existing volunteer who we'd obviously charge for their time and they'd be paid for it through giving the virtual tours, or it could be a celebrity doing a specific one-off kind of event because they were a fan of the museum, or even just a group of friends who wanted to experience a museum experience together. And we're providing all of that tools, platforms, and the servers behind that, behind the service. And so this kind of changes the perspective in terms of what we're seeing now in culture and heritage, which is, as we see it, kind of venue-centric. It's this narrow slice exposing what there is currently in terms of the physical and bringing that to the virtual experience, whereas our approach with Curators is to bring it onto a visitor focused approach, so very interactive, very social, allowing people to experience what they want and when they want, and yeah, freeing up the stories and the content and the artifacts and everything within that. So because of all of the technologies and everything we've spoken about today, we have a huge range of possibilities, and this is kind of just the tip of the iceberg, really. So obviously you've got your basic functionalities in terms of 2D images, video, 3D assets and animations that can be brought in, and they're kind of unlimited in terms of what we can do there. And a lot of that capture has already been done in a lot of cases of various venues. Using our avatar technology, we're able to produce avatars, so you can have a historical representation and reenactment which can be recorded and replayed. You obviously have audio and music which can be brought through as well. The live tours, as I mentioned, so that would be someone walking around and answering questions and pointing things out, and really providing a customized tour based on what those users who have paid for that live tour want to experience and want to learn about. So it allows them to dive into the areas they want to, rather than say a pre-recorded tour on YouTube where you would be dictated to by the pace of what the director or the person who wrote the video decided. And we can just allow people to view these places and visit with friends at any time to enjoy the locations. And in terms of accessibility and engagement, it doesn't just need to be virtually, remotely that you're experiencing this. We think this product and platform will be useful to venues even post-COVID. So you can potentially have the app be on site, on an iPad or a virtual reality headset, and still use the same content whether it's in person or remotely. So it's really expanding the potential audience, the potential revenue, and the reach, which kind of ticks all the boxes for the different venues. In terms of the technologies, so we've obviously spent 4 years investing into the R&D and tech. As I mentioned before, we've got a wide range of projects done in the past, which bring through things like our optimization tech. So that's kind of level of detail generation, where we can take large meshes and photogrammetry scans and convert them into real-time usable assets. We've got our voice solution, we've got volumetric Snickerboard, which we mentioned before, the performance recording, as you saw in the virtual pub environment, and the lip sync and facial expressions, plus the multi-user networking tech, which we built on top of Unreal Engine, and the cross-platform technologies and tools we've built as well, including the server backend, such as we use for Spaceteam. There's two interfaces to the platform. So obviously there's the app, which people will be able to download through app stores or through Oculus Store or whatever their particular choice would be. Also, we plan to stream the service via the web as well, so even if you work in a browser on a low-powered device. And then you're able to select your tour, whether that's you walking around at your own pace, a pre-recorded tour, or one of the live tours that you pay for and book with your friends. And then eventually, as we launch the platform, we'll be making available a maker tool, which would allow people to upload to our servers their own tours to lay out the hot spots and interactions and everything that they wish to as well, and then pre-record those animations and performances we spoke about. So next steps for us, so we'll be announcing the platform very soon. Some brilliant partners we've got on board already in terms of venues that we're launching with, and we're going to be talking to more agencies and scanning companies to bring on board with the platform. And in terms of future opportunities, obviously Tom touched on a few of those for me, which is nice. So allowing people to tell their own stories and to interact and really curate their own experience from the different museums. Obviously, again, was mentioned LiDAR and some of the photogrammetry tools that are available now. And as these get better and the hardware more available, it really allows people to be doing the part of the scanning agencies and replacing the need for the very expensive setups to be performing some of that capture for us and to create these spaces. So yeah, so that's it. I'm afraid I'm not allowed to stay for the panel later on, as I've got a meeting in Rec Room, which seems very 2020. But yeah, hopefully that was a good introduction to the platform and some of the stuff we've been doing.